Good morning, Salem, and welcome to this midweek message and meditation from Salem Lutheran Church here on October 12th. My name is Aaron Holmgren, and I am the pastor here. And a couple of announcements as we consider the weeks and ahead. We have our faith formation happening with St. Stephen's. That's happening tonight, as well as next week. The 19th is here at Salem. We're helping to tie baby blankets. So if you have felt and scissors and hands that can help tie, or if you want to help out with the serving of the food, or you just want to come and say hi to the kids, or bring your own kids, or your nephews, or your nieces, or your grandkids to help out with this project. It's a nice way of celebrating the larger community of the church as the baby blankets that are being tied that night, October 19th from 5:30 to 7. Those baby blankets are going to go to any of the newly baptized babies that are baptized within the next year or so at St. Stephen's or here at Salem. So a fun activity for the whole family. Following that Wednesday, we will have our family faith formation on Sunday the 23rd. And so that's going to be here after worship at 10:40 downstairs in the fellowship hall. There'll be a there'll be a song, a lesson, and a craft. So every kids again. Same thing goes. Kids and family are invited to that as well. There will be a children's sermon during worship that Sunday. And so it will be a really fun time to gather the family and to learn about God together. Speaking of that Sunday, we have our Growing in Generosity Ask Day that Sunday, the 23rd. So ideally, you have gotten your pledge card in the mail. And if you haven't, please reach out to the church or know that there are blank copies available. But the pledge cards, we're hoping that you bring it in person for that Sunday. We have envelopes with leaves printed on the back that we will put on our currently barren trees so that it will be flush with green leaves as we seek to grow together in God's generosity by mirroring that with our own generosity. Um, I'm going to reflect a little more on that in just a second, but I don't want to forget we have Trunk or Treat as well happening in our parking lot. I think right now there's 5 cars signed up. We'd love to have a couple more cars signed up to be decorated and to serve candy for the folks of the neighborhood. It's going to run from 3 to 5 that Saturday, the 29th. And it will not conflict with Augustana's trunk or treat. So if wise children are paying attention, you might be able to to go to Augustana's, fill up your bag there, head over to Salem's in a couple hours, and fill your bag there as well. So ripe for the picking as far as safe, fun community fellowship around trick or treating, but in context of the church. So trunk or treat here at Salem's parking lot, 3 to 5 on Saturday the 29th. And again, you can bring your kids, you can bring your nieces and nephews, you can bring your grandkids, your great grandkids, or bring your trunk decorated and full of candy. So let's get back to our growing in generosity theme that we are exploring in this month. It was really fun coming in this morning because the pictures, the baby pictures with the current pictures underneath are all around the church. So there's kind of this fun game of guess what little seed this is and see how I've grown. Um, I hope you have the opportunity to come by the church and to kind of play that game and reflect on how we have grown um, physically in this church together. So those signs are around to help reflect in that way. But another way that came up in our Bible study yesterday, and it's probably going to be a theme within the sermon on Sunday, so you get a sneak peek here, is the way in which we worry or we wonder about how to grow in numbers. That's always the big question, is how are we going to get people back in the church? And it's a legitimate question. There's, I think, a lot of different thoughts around that and a lot of different reasons why one might want to get numbers back in the church. But I hope that the greatest reason why we would wish to invite people into our space, into our congregation and our time of worship is because we truly believe in the gospel that we are proclaiming. And out of joy, out of the thanksgiving that we feel, knowing that we are loved, we go out and we tell the story. We invite people to the to this place where we experience the community of Christ. Um, which is a unique experience in this world. There are a lot of different senses of community, but a community built around grace and forgiveness and the love of God can be kind of a safe haven, a sanctuary for people in time of need and in times of joy as well. So we have this story here coming up on Sunday, Luke chapter 18, 1 through 9. Jesus tells a parable of a persistent widow who's bugging a judge for justice. And eventually the judge gives in. And in our Bible study yesterday, we reflected on maybe our invitations, maybe our the ways in which we pursue those who we care about. As well as our neighbors within this community of West St. Paul, maybe the ways that we pursue them needs to be a little more persistent. Not in a nagging sense, but in a loving concern that shows how truly important the church is to you and how much you want to share that with others. Um, I'm not sure exactly how that would look for each and every one of you. It might be insisting on driving a friend to worship, or inviting them to worship and then brunch after, or um, just saying if you're here for the weekend, you have to come to church with me. I know that's what my grandma always did. Is if you were at grandma's for the weekend, you were at church. So, um, but I think there are many different ways in which we can be persistent uh, and proclaim the gospel in our invitation, in the ways that we insist that people join us. And I know that that can sometimes be intimidating, or that we never want to appear like we are bullies, or that we are dragging people kicking and screaming into worship, although sometimes it might feel that way with younger kids. But we want to demonstrate how important the gospel is to us. And if it's that important to us, I hope that we have the drive to invite. Not just welcome when people wander in, but to invite and to bring people to this place. So as we um, move into a year together, considering how to grow in generosity somewhat post-pandemic, um, we have this opportunity again to invite old friends back, to invite new faces in, and to grow in the community that we share. So that's my reflection for today, and I invite you to join us for worship on Sunday and any and all other activities that we are hosting here at Salem. We'd love to have you. And if you're joining us already, It is a blessing that you are here. Have a great week.